But honestly, when you see things like this, or you see what was happening, what we tied together yesterday with Israel, because if Israel attacks, I believe that the whole world will turn against Israel, including us. If Israel responds to the attacks on her, it's not going to be good. And there are times that you think, you know what? I'd just rather be Charlie Sheen. I'd rather just be a guy who is just like, boom, winning. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Life is a little bit easier then. When you're just,
it is.
You start raving nuts. And you don't care what anybody thinks about you or what's going on around you.
To say that he's nuts.
Start
What
raving
makes
nuts.
you think he's nuts? Why do you think he's nuts?
Boom.
The guy had a hernia operation, and he was...
Well, there seems to be a bone of contention with that.
What do you mean?
When you remember the original interview, and the guy was talking about how he hung out with him in the interview.
Yeah, sure.
And there was a couple different places where he.
I am speechless. Later, we're going to get into Apocalypse Now, but what comes to mind is when we were there a few weeks ago watching it in your home theater.
In your home theater,
when I was there 2 weeks ago at your house,
remember?
You were great, totally clean. You were working out super hard. I went and worked out with you at that private
Stop!
gym.
I'm just
remember, I was working out with you.
I didn't
and you
know
were
that
sweating like a pig.
I didn't know that Ed Schultz and Charlie Sheen had this kind of relationship. But it's nice to...
Well, they're hanging out in their home theater, Glenn, and they
really
were...
buff. You were in your underpants.
Yeah,
remember that?
I was wearing nothing but a hat.
Remember? You took that shower, and then I went in there, and I followed you in there, and you didn't know I was in there.
Right.
And then I was looking at you around the corner.
Right.
And then you kind of turned around, so I looked the other way, and I waited for
It was kind of an awkward moment, but we both enjoyed it anyway.
And we just looked at each other for like 30 seconds, eye to eye, really close.
Right.
As men, Charlie, remember? But I was at your house watching you work out because I know you, and I was there at your house.
We'd watched a similar scene on the movie theater, your home theater.
Remember that?
And then there was that time that you were washing your face, and then the soap was dripping down so lusciously down your abs. And I just came over and I just helped you out. I just helped you clean down in that area just to see what would happen. And you were okay with it. And remember that? Remember when I was over there?
Remember when I said, we should do this again in slow motion? Remember? Let's do this again in slow motion.
And we filmed it, and it went out on the internet. Remember that?
I mean, they put you through an incredible workout. You're there exercising in the pool.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Remember that? You're in your Speedo.
Speedo and you're exercising, and I'm just there awkwardly hanging out at your gym while they're putting you through all these things to make sure you're really buff, and they're checking how buff you are, and I'm just standing there weirdly.
And I said, "Hey, Charlie, mind if I feel your muscles?" Remember that? Because I was at your pool with you and your
Speedo. I was your trainer and your movie theater.
Remember when you were on the elliptical, and then you got off and you had the sweat stains on it, and I made sure I cleaned them up with my tongue. Remember my tongue was on your elliptical? Do you remember that? Remember that?
You went and took a shower at the gym, and I took your gym shorts and I just sniffed them. You walked in and I was just smelling. I just said,
not in a weird way though.
I was just trying to make sure that these weren't the clean ones.
Yeah,
that I could fold and put away. And
remember.
Right there by your gym.
There's more.
Look, I'm ready to go to work. I'm ready to go right now. And then they add the lie that, you don't have a hernia. Well, you know what? I've seen your hernia.
Remember that? I've seen your hernia. Remember? And you let me touch your hernia?
Right. Remember I said, if I'm really good, Charlie, if I'm really, really good, can I touch your hernia? Or if I'm really, really bad, whatever you prefer, I can touch your hernia.
Yeah, remember that? And then you had those canker sores, and I was just touching the canker sore with my tongue just to see if it was okay.
I wanted to test out the acidic content of your canker sore.
And I have like a pH balance thing on the end of my tongue.
And people say you don't have hemorrhoids. I've seen your hemorrhoids. I've seen your hemorrhoids.
I've seen them. I've seen them. I've seen them.
Is that the weirdest comment in the history of broadcast?
Well, you know what? I've seen your hernia.
That is the weirdest broadcast comment. Tell me the weirder comment than that is. All right.
Well, you know what? I've seen your hernia.
Say that, and he's bragging about it as if it's something he should be telling other people.
Remember, well, that's because I was at his house, in his gym, checking his hernia. That's how close we are. Not a lot of men check other men's hernias, but I have.
I could tell you the weirder broadcast moment.
Yeah,
it's at the beginning of the interview. Listen how he builds up getting there.
Yeah.
I think that's more uncomfortable.
Do you really? Then I've seen your hernia.
Listen to it again. Listen to it again. It makes sense that he's seen his hernia after you hear the beginning.
When I was there 2 weeks ago at your house, you looked great, totally clean. You were working out super hard. I went and worked out with you at that private
rock hard
place. You were great.
Remember when your rock hard abs were flexing and I was running my fingers off them? Remember that?
You are so hot and so clean.
People say you don't have bunions. I've seen your bunions.
Let me tell you how clean he is. He is clean. He's clean.
His hernia is clean.
Well, you know what? I've seen your hernia.
I know it's clean. Nobody can tell me you don't have a clean hernia. I helped clean your hernia.
Let me clean you like a cat cleans you. Yeah, like a cat cleans himself. I'm going to clean you, Charlie. So it's going to have yours that clean.
But in a manly way. There's nothing weird about
more
it.
like a man-cat sort of way.
Yeah. We can't stop you from sweating, but we can stop you from crying.
Yeah.
And we will tonight. And we will. Stu and I will be there on
I'm going to show people my hernia.
Remember?
We were in your home theater.
Yeah.
Remember we were on the stage and you were sweating and I kneeled down in front of you and caught the sweat drips in my mouth.
Okay.
Remember that?
Yeah.
All right. So, and by the way, if you're military personnel, if you're
well, you know what? I've seen your hernia.
That is the weirdest broadcast comment. Tell me the weirder comment than that is.
You know, it took me about a year to start hating the 9/11 victims' families. It took me about a year.
See them.
Is that the weirdest comment in the history of broadcast?
But when I see, 9/11 victim family, on television or whatever, I'm just like, oh, shut up. I'm so sick of them because they're always complaining.
I could tell you the weirder broadcast moment.
Yeah.
But the second thought that I had when I saw these people and they had to shut down the Astrodome and lock it down, I thought, I didn't think I could hate victims faster than the 9/11 victims.
Glenn Beck's shtick, Alex Jones got there first, and they go over a detailed analysis of Glenn Beck ripping us off word for word, which I wouldn't have a problem with, except that then he does things like block me from getting on Fox News as a guest, which isn't that big of a deal, except that it just shows him telling people then who are guests on this show to not be guests on this show or that he won't interview them. I've been told this by prominent people. Of course, will not give out their names, hence I might lose that source. But it is frustrating, very frustrating, to have him involved in what I'm doing constantly. But I understand why he's doing that. I mean, he knows that I'm the real deal and that he basically takes much of what he covers from this show. So, of course, he's going to try to hurt this broadcast. The word is, though, they're getting really close to throwing him out of Fox. We'll be right back.